Hello, and welcome to today's edition of Route 664, the road to human kindness. And the road to human kindness is an abundant road. Abundance is what it's about, not scarcity. We need to think about things in terms of how there's enough to go around and not just what I own is mine and mine alone. I want to read you an excerpt. People who fund projects are usually inspired by the projects they support. I like how developers post their progress, insights, or the challenges and delays they run into. It creates a connection between people like community currencies do, not the separation that trying to make money does. It supports a deeper sense of community and reputation matters, like it did in colonial times. Trust is the basis of these exchanges and the ability to raise money. That's by Kristen Ragusin. Kristen joins us now. Good morning. Very nice to meet you.
Oh, hi, Les. So wonderful to be here. Thank you so much.
We're trying to change the world by getting the world to deal with the formula of love, which is 664 equals E squared, where 664 is a section of the tax code that encourages charitable giving, and E squared is endowment squared, where the individual creates an endowment for themselves and an endowment for the community that they leave behind. And it's all given to us by a part of the tax code that Congress gave us back in 1969. And it's a very abundant concept. And people need to understand that it is the problems that we have can be solved by individuals, but we have to be clear to be able to solve them. I've been reading excerpts from your book. I haven't gotten the book yet. I'm looking forward to getting it. I would love to hear your take on the way the world is today, the way people view the world today, the way that people interact with other people today. What do you see out there, Kristen? What is your thought?
I really do think it's sort of the best and the worst at the same time. We're being with all the advancements of technology, we're collectively, we've never had such a sense of isolation. I think even when we're with others, you see people, it's understandable how addictive the phone is and all these other sort of dopamine hits from these short spurts of information and razzle dazzle. It's the opposite of life. Life is this inherent web, and we're inseparably connected to one another. And yet at the same point in time, we're unique, beautiful lights, each one of us. And so this paradox, maybe we've gone back and forth in life in terms of saying, here's the time of the individual, here's the time of the collective, but it has to be both. And, can we articulate systems that honor this? Can we articulate an ethos that honors this? And right now, we really, really have gone to attempting to highlight the individual and creating more and more separation. And then when we go to the collective is almost completely taking the individual under. So it's really a unique paradox of sort of anti-living that's predominating. The positive, the bright light in this, I would say, is that it is stirring people enough, creating that value in interactions and in what life is that may in fact be that strength that the baby chick goes through when it begins to break out of the egg. If someone helps the baby chick out of the egg, the baby chick dies. And so that resistance and that training, this is where I think we are in humanity.
Where does it come? Where does it come? Where do you? Where's the aha moment going to occur? Where is that going to happen in schools? Is it going to happen in where? How are we going to change?
I do think it's coming from every facet because sort of this anti-living sort of assault is on every facet of life. All the institutions that we've held in esteem, we could say, gosh, they've even lost their driving ethos, and we've been moving toward comfort and sparkle and these kinds of things, but it's creating that profound discomfort. So I think that what will happen is this awakening of the heart that will be very integrated and grounded in the physical, which is that really only sustained thriving comes through a contribution and connection with others. And it's funny, I say often during the COVID phase, we really saw that even if we had money, the money had really no meaning because you couldn't use it. Um, right?
Right, yeah,
So,
sure.
so when you look at all this kind of stuff, even if we get the answer now, oh, somebody has a lot of money, if it isn't really fully circulating and thriving through society, are we creating beautiful things to uplift one another? And more importantly, are we experiencing how our contributions impact one another? And in that, there is the spark of life.
How important is the idea of the future contribution? Not necessarily a contribution today, but a contribution in the future. And if the promise of the contribution in the future will also give you a better present, does that help to solve the problem?
I think it does very much so because it becomes a compass, it becomes a director. Everything, you look at the TV shows like on CNBC, fast money, you have to have your thing now. And it again sort of amps up the chemicals in the body, which again brings sort of to this abysmal nothingness, this lack of meaning. And I used to, even if we go back to, sort of biblical terms about money and say, oh, the root of all evil is the love of money. Well,
Mhm.
what does that mean? Does that mean that money is bad? I think it means being in love with getting the thing or even articulating money incorrectly instead of being in love with the contribution and the opportunity to grow and the opportunity to have an idea, wow, I made a difference, or oh, I cleaned something from the most mundane to the most sublime and profound.
Mhm.
And when we're anchored in this, that this is a life where we really only come to know each other in the reflection and receipt of the other, sort of this inherent duality, then it becomes this very important thing as to how one is doing any kind of job, and then how one is inspired and tapping into those divinely inspired gifts that every human being has. And
So those, and now go back for a second. I just want to, you're 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 saying that inherently we are nice people. We're we are kind to others. We're born kind to others. When you look at the way the education of our young is taking place now, when you look at the political world's functioning and the impact of that political crap on everybody on a constant basis almost. Uh, how do we should people expect a quick change here? It's not going to happen quickly, right? It's
you
going to
know,
take time.
Yeah, I tell you, it can happen very quickly for the individual. It can happen very quickly for a community, for any network of collective. And, we could experience the miraculous where we could get quite a profound shift in humanity because it really is a shift of mindset. And the problem is we've been conditioned to look at our institutions for resolution, and they only can give us the best of the mediocre, right? So a lot of our regulatory
It's not
agencies,
mediocre.
right? A lot of our regulatory agencies are important, but they're sort of meant to keep us, at that mediocre level. If you drop below, they're going to come in and kick us. If you go too high, they're going to bring you back down. And so that's sort of the collective cultural field. It has its purpose, but the human heart that's tuned into the divine and the presence, we're biochemically wired for good. We are an altruistic species and presence on this earth. That's actually how we're chemically wired. And but again, that cultural field that might be a little bit too big for it. So, that's probably the part that doesn't get amplified.
Yeah, don't think that your vote doesn't mean anything. Every single vote counts, and every single person's contribution to the world is effectively important. My guest is Kristen Ragusin, and the author of The End of Scarcity. And this is, of course, Route 664, The Road to Human Kindness. And scarcity and human kindness don't go together. Kristen, how did you? This is not taught anywhere. This is something that you obviously have been immersing yourself in this, and this is your genius to share this with everybody. I'm sure you could talk about this 24 hours a day, never get tired of it. And so, where did this come from? I mean, what were you doing?
Even as a child, I would say even at 5 years old, I would see the humans, the big humans that were around me, and think, where's the conflict coming from? I could feel the presence and sort of the love that we were all immersed in, and the grand empowerment that belonged to every single human being. And I grew up in a family where I had to earn my allowance explaining to my father how the stock markets worked and to learn
Okay.
vocabulary words in order to get my dollar every week. And if I didn't do it correctly, I didn't get my dollar. So money to me was sort of this very positive thing that represented, wow, if I went out and helped someone, I could earn a dollar, and then I could go and buy something that I wanted, a glass animal, a doll, whatever it was in the town. And so I already felt very connected to this essence that it was this expression of what we did for and with one another. And as I got older and went to work, I started at Merrill Lynch as a stockbroker. I couldn't
Oh,
believe in
okay.
the early 90s. And I
Hmm.
had really asked God to put me where I could serve. And I thought, this is not going to be for me until I sat down with my first client and I felt the pain that was around money and all the loaded emotions, the shame, the guilt, the worry, the defensiveness. And I thought, wow, I could really help to empower people to say, here's how it works. Here's how you can best use what this essence of where you're storing what you've contributed to create a better life. And that never really left me. So I started in the early 90s. I fell in love with the entrepreneurial part of it, even though we were very much cold calling at those days. And it came upon, the 2008 crisis where I got lucky and saw it ahead of time, was able to get people out of the market, but was so profoundly horrified by the destruction of what I saw that I really was moved that something was missing in my worldview. There was something I didn't know. And at that point, I went
From the crash, from the
from the crash.
2008 crash. Yeah.
I thought there's some essence where this could happen of something that I don't know. And it took me probably about 9 months or so to figure out I actually did not know how money was created in our society and came into the working society, the real economic communities. And when I discovered that money was only mortgage debt, that in fact we didn't have money separately, that it's like a quarter, there's a head and a tail side. And when that debt is repaid, that money is destroyed. I thought, wow, this is a system that does not honor the truth of abundance. And it can't even produce real investment capitalism. So we have a functioning system that is not matching our ethos.
What is the truth of the abundance system, and the other thing that you just mentioned, which was your view of money and the change that people need to make? What is that?
Well, yeah, I think even very simply, without the system even changing, and the system can readily start a beautiful parallel economy. And I do think it's happening on money levels where money's going to be created correctly, which as it has been done many, many times. Every time there was a golden age in society or an enlightened age, even the founding fathers, they were all in debt in England and they came here burdened heavily in debt to start a new way. And they created money correctly which uplifted their local societies. But then that money started the Revolutionary War and we lost it in 1812.
Yeah, well, I got to stop you there because we are talking about exactly that thing, and here's my belief is that that we want to change the country from 34 trillion in debt to 34 trillion in endowment. I
Mm.
believe the endowment is what you're talking about as the fulfillment obligation of money. That money would then be serving a proper purpose
Absolutely.
in supporting the other things. Right now, we're being shown how we can move money around effectively from one place to another, but without doing as much good as it could possibly do.
That's right. I think you
Uh,
truly hit the nail on the head because when money is separated from contribution, when money is considered a thing, which is that love of the money, we
mm,
now detach from all of our humanity and what even gives us the purpose of living and a healthy life. When money is linked to what we do for and with one another, and it's seen as a sacred, sort of sense and how we invest it and how we spend it and how we give it as being very much the essence of our ancestors, of our community, of our families, ourselves, and our futures, then life all of a sudden is in alignment.
think about it this way. In Social Security, the Social Security system that we have in the country, people make contributions for their entire lifetime. Their employers contribute while their whole working life. If that individual reaches age 65 or retirement age in one day and then passes away and they don't have a family, what happens to all that money that they put in? What was the purpose that they saw behind that money when they could have had such significant purpose behind that money if that money were to be left to the community? And that's what we do with that's what Social Security is one thing and social charity is the other thing. That's what we call the theory of social charity. Theory of social charity is that people need to be able to accumulate money for their own benefit, their own use, grow it as big as they want to, make it as much as they want to produce as much income as they want to, and in endowing themselves for the future. And at the end of their life, pass it into the community to the places that they think they want to help and that they want to service. And then you're really talking about the use of money, and it's an abundant theory. It's not the scarcity. Government is all about scarcity. You have a solution to you have a way of solving the problem, but you don't necessarily have the solution with the from the standpoint of the monetary the actual funding for the solution. The funding for the solution is the end of the story in itself. The
Right.
abundant theory that people will say, what I have, I don't my family has enough. I can leave a part of this to the community, and the part that I leave to the community is something that served me on my whole life. I mean, I just think we should be replacing. I think that the Congress actually had in mind replacing Social Security with Social Security. They just haven't told anybody about it. That's
Wow. Wow.
my theory.
You
Yeah.
know, it's so beautiful. And even just to build that ethos, this is, what I have two main goals when I'm out there is to really build the ethos that the money power is within us, but it also means that we're born with a God-given talent or talents, and we don't have to define them. But in everything that we do, if we're in service to one another, and we realize that that has an impact, like sort of field equity
Mhm.
that that life is that sacred, and then on top of it, then when we start to look at the systems, that how the systems will be re-articulated from sort of this, without sounding too flowery, but this sort of exalted state
Mhm.
rather than this pauper scarcity enslavement perspective of what miscreating the money systems really does.
Yeah. So my guess is Kristen. It's just been amazing, Kristen, to have an opportunity to speak to you because you are really talking about exactly what we're doing. So thank you very much for being a part of Route 664, the Road to Human Kindness. We really appreciate your time.
Oh, such a pleasure to be here with you. Thank you so much for all you're doing.
You bet.
We've got best-selling authors.
You are going to start to uncover all the layers that are covering your genius.
And some of the world's top leadership experts.
We have structured a mastermind program that is very unusual and it is very powerful.
Robin Sharma at noon.
Your creativity will soar, your productivity will be epic, your impact will be legendary, you will be the best in the business, and you will not only achieve remarkable things, but you're going to feel sunsets. You'll feel a connection to people. You'll feel for what's going on in the world, and that will make you a world changer in your own unique way.
Robin Sharma at noon at 4 p.m.
It's a
Blaine Bartlett.
exploration of what it takes to be a highly effective leader in today's fast-changing environment.
Best-selling author, executive, and leadership coach.
And if you've been liking what you've been listening to on these Soul of Business podcasts, how does one become a leader that can keep connection to the soul of business?
Blaine Bartlett at 4 p.m.
Look forward to seeing you there.
At Route664.org. This is Route 664 Radio.
Hey folks, it's Charity here. 664 equals endowment squared. That means income for you, benefits for all. It's a way to help make the world a better place. Peace through prosperity, prosperity through peace. Join us at socialsecurity.org.
So the whole object of that presentation was to explain scarcity versus abundance and how we view our own legacies and how we view our money. Money is it's not the end all or be all. It is a measure. That's what it is. Basically, we all have a lot of value in us. We share that value all the time with others. It can increase your own personal well-being by sharing it in an effective way. And that's what I hope you take away from this exercise this morning, because what we want to achieve is endowment. We want to achieve an ability to make sure our own lives are secure, that we have financial security as we go forward. Financial security has to do with the measure of money, but it doesn't necessarily mean money. In days when folks had a farm and they were growing a crop, the way that things were transmitted were sharing. We would trade you our crop for your crop, and that would be the way that things were done. It was never a matter of a money element in between. The currency becomes a factor when it's the measurement device as to what you can and can't buy. And what we have today is we have a completely void system right now where the actual arrangement between people is only based on money and the scarcity of money. And that's a very significant problem we have in the country today. So we want to change that. And one of the objectives of Endow America, the Endow America Network Foundation, is to get that message across, to have the purpose in your life be to reach your genius, to be able to do what you like to do 24 hours a day, not have to be doing something you don't like to do, and have what you need to be able to sustain yourself in a way that you want to live. There's a lot of consumerism that is foisted on us by our media. The generations have existed now for a couple of generations where we have a tremendous number of impacts every day from advertising, from people who want you to buy things. And so consumerism is a factor in our lives, and unfortunately it takes up a lot of energy, and it puts people in debt. It has put people in debt. I hope that the new generation, Generation Alpha, will see things a little differently. And my friend Wanda has written a book about Generation Alpha, about how social security, the thing we talk about consistently here on our program, social security is a way for you to reduce your taxes and have more income using charity. And that book is available if you want. We will send you a copy free of charge. Just call 1-855-2664-664. That's 855-2664-664, and we'll send you a copy of the book. Leave your name and your address and your telephone number. We'll send you a copy free. The book is about Social Security and how Section 664 and Social Security changed Generation Alpha's ability to retire and change the nation. It's a big project. It's not something that we take lightly. That I've been pursuing this for a long time. We have a lot of elements that are helping us now to explain it to the public. One of them is our website at socialsecurity.org. We have, of course, a phenomenal radio station that we work with, and that is Route664.org, Route664.org. And you can get that app on Apple or Android and join in the celebration of life and how wonderful life can be without all of the marketing and media attacking you every second of the hour. We're also on that radio station. We have replays of our interviews and people that we've interviewed in the past. Those podcasts have a lot of interest to people who are in particular position. We're going to give you a little more information about the podcasts on our website so that you can find out who's coming up, what shows we're going to be doing, what we are reviewing, again, what we're replaying on our interviews. And you'll get have an opportunity to learn more about how the world can be changed if you just lower your taxes by using charity or increase your income by using charity or both. And that's what it's all about. Very simple, not complicated. It's a world of abundance. You have to think about things in terms of how you can utilize your assets, maximize your assets, make them work. Unfortunately, government is a player in the process, and the government will take from you. They take from you when you earn, they take from when you grow, and they take from when you die. So the government has 3 bites of the apple, and you can avoid those bites by using charity. And that way you change the nature of the way things are done in your own community. You can change the way things are done in the future for your country and make the nation a better place to live in. That's what we want to do, accomplish that by using charity to lower your taxes, increase your income, and also try to eliminate the debt in this country. If we can lower the amount of money that has to go to NGOs from the government, and I don't know why it has to go, but the government has chosen to give money to NGOs, non-governmental organizations. That doesn't make any sense. That needs to be supported by us, and they provided us with ways to do that in sections of the tax code. And so this is our objective. This is the way that we think the world can be bettered, and that's what Endow America is all about. So go to socialcharity.org, socialcharity.org. Don't forget to order or to request a copy of Wanda Miles' great book, Social Charity, and you can get that at 1-855-2664-664. 855-2664-664. We'll be with you again, same time, same station next week. Have a great week.